I'm Claire Evans. I'm the Chief Learning Officer at School of Humanity, and that's what we're going to do today, is to present the School of Humanity. We've got some learners who are going to talk about their learning experience. They're going to present their projects, what they've been working on at School of Humanity. And I'm going to present a little bit briefly about what the School of Humanity is, what its intention is, what its purpose is, and why it's come about. Okay, so I will begin. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to begin by presenting, like I said, the School of Humanity, and then I'll pass it on to each of our learners so that they can present their own presentations. Okay, and just to mention that we have left some time at the end for a panel discussion, so please do ask questions in the chat of YouTube, or if you're in the Zoom, then please do ask questions. We'd be very happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding School of Humanity. Okay, so the School of Humanity is the high school for the world. We're an online high school with an innovative learning model and interdisciplinary curriculum. What this means is that the learners will develop skills, mindsets, and behaviors by solving real-world problems. So that the focus really is developing future-ready learners. So as they work through School of Humanity, they develop the skills that they need to be successful in their future professional and personal lives. The school was launched last year, so it's been running for coming up for a year now, and we've been piloting various different educational programs. So, for example, we ran a summer school last year, and we've been running an extracurricular program called the Ascend program, which started in last year in September. So far, we've had about 100 learners who have run through the programs. We've partnered with about 15 organisations. We've had the participation of more than 20 countries. And of the learners who have passed through, that almost 100%, 90% say that they love the programme. And about 70%, interesting fact, about 70% of our learners have been girls so far. We have a team of experienced educators and mentors. And I'll talk a little bit more about each of these different roles in a moment. So really, why the School of Humanity? Well, it's come to light more and more that traditional educational systems are perhaps not preparing learners sufficiently for the future. The nature of work and careers is changing fast, and in the future, the right skills will be prized over academic qualifications alone. That's from research carried out by the World Economic Forum. And also, interesting fact, 65% or more of the jobs of the future we don't even know about now. So jobs that will be around maybe in 2030, 2040, are jobs that we have no idea that these jobs might even exist in the future. And just to give you something to think about, 3 years ago, we had no idea that jobs like, for example, a COVID coordinator or a COVID runner, for example, these are jobs that I've seen are necessary for people working in television, for example. So these jobs were unheard of 3 years ago, but now these are jobs that exist. And of course, all of the jobs that have gone into researching COVID vaccines, etc. These are jobs that we simply didn't know about, but now do exist. So we have no idea. We can make estimated guesses. We can make educated guesses, about the direction that jobs are moving in, but there are many careers that we don't know about. And therefore, the learners who are graduating today from high school, who are going through an education system currently, they need to graduate with the skills that they will need to be able to find work and be successful. And that's really what the School of Humanity is setting out to do. So the curriculum is fully interdisciplinary, allowing the learners to develop the skills through the lens of different disciplines. So what that means is that rather than teaching topics as silos and dependent subjects, so looking at, maybe physics and maths and English, for example, as separate subjects. All of these are brought together in an interdisciplinary way as learners work through their challenge paths and their career paths. And I'm having to mind my cat, who's chosen this moment to come and see me. Sorry. Okay. So the learning experience is very much personalized. The learners will move at their own pace. They choose the projects that they want to work on, which means that their learning is driven by curiosity. So as we know, when you choose something that you want to learn about, then you have an innate curiosity about that subject. It might be something that you feel passionate about, and that gives you a motivation and a drive to learn more about it. And the learners are partnered with industry mentors who are experts in their field, and they can really help them to work on their specific pathways and to help them solve the problems that they've identified. It's designed for future readiness, as I've mentioned before, and the learners graduate with portfolio projects. They will follow a skill transcript and a mastery transcript. They have the skills they need to enter the workforce. We also have a series of micro internships. The global networking is amazing. The learners come from all different parts of the world, and they get to know each other. So it's a real global community, and they leave with tools for flourishing, which I'll talk more about in a moment. So how it works, this is the learning journey. So the learners embark on a unique learning experience. It's challenge based, which means that the learners will choose a challenge path that they want to work on. They will identify a problem specifically related to this challenge path, and then they will develop a solution, a prototype based on the specific problem they've identified. They, as I mentioned before, they have a mentor who is an industry expert who will help and guide them through their project. Is a combination of live synchronous sessions where the learners will join together a core workshop, for example, or their mentorship session or the flourishing session, and self-paced where they need to work independently to prepare the sessions, to look at post-session activities, and of course to work on the skills that they need to develop to work on their projects. And finally, as I mentioned before, it's personalized and curiosity driven. So here are some examples of the challenge paths that a learner could choose to take. So as they join, for example, we have the summer school coming up. The idea is that a learner would choose one of these challenge paths to work on. So just some examples, we've got creating virtual worlds, for example, sustainable cities, the future of education, art with technology, and many more. And as they work through the summer school is a 6-week program. As they work through the program, they will focus on their challenge path and base their project with something related to the challenge path. They can also choose to complement their learning with skill paths. So the idea is that these are modules that they can choose to work on. So for example, if they're chosen something to do with the future of space, for example, and they want to think about how can they produce food in space, they might want to learn about biotechnology, and therefore they could do the skill path related to biotechnology. We also do something called micro internships. So the micro internships is a career path where the learners are partnered with an organization which works in the field related to the challenge path they've chosen. To date, we've had learners who have worked with the ALMA Observatory in Chile, with Takalam and Lumire in the United Arab Emirates. That we've got learners coming up next week who are going to partner with Surag Medical, which is in Germany, Up School in Turkey, and Houdini School in the United States. So here they're really getting a taste of what it feels like to be a professional and to work on a real world problem that has been set to them by the representative of the organization who they are partnering with. A very important part of the curriculum is the human flourishing. So this really makes up, is the core part of the curriculum. The human flourishing is really looking at how to develop the individual in a very holistic way. So it's social and emotional learning and much, much more. So looking at things like mindfulness and meditation, learning how to learn, how to be grateful, how to practice gratitude, how to have a creative flow and to maintain that. It's really looking at the whole aspect of what it means to be a person, a human, and how to really get the best from your learning experience and the best from yourself. So it forms a key part of the curriculum, and the learners will have a flourishing session once a week with activities that surround pre and post session activities. Here are a few examples of some of the work that some of the impact of our model. Sophia from Brazil created a project where she wanted to create oxygen on Mars. So that her prototype was a robot that could create oxygen on Mars. Peace from Nigeria wanted to advance financial literacy, and she collaborated with her teammate from Jordan to create a website that would educate people about cryptocurrencies. And Rania from India designed a solution that would use biomarkers and data to improve the diagnosis of endometriosis. This is just a handful of the amazing work that the learners have done to date, but there are many, many more examples. And of course, in a moment, our learners are going to present, and you'll be able to see what amazing projects they've been working on. So everyone, this is a quote from Tom, who's currently in the Ascend program at the moment, and he says, everyone is so inquisitive and intellectual, and I'm so excited to get more into the program. I love how the curriculum is flexible whilst providing all the key knowledge in order to make a real difference in the world. So he was very enthusiastic and enjoying his experience at School of Humanity. And another testimony, School of Humanity must have been the first place where in literally every workshop I could take something and relate to my real life. There's no such thing in regular schools where we usually don't see the purpose of what we're doing. So that was from Sophia, who participated in the summer school last year. Now we have summer school coming up in July and August. The applications are open, so if you'd like to learn more about it, I'll put the link, the website link somewhere in the chat. And also the online high school, which is starting in September, with the July start for those who want to participate in the summer school before starting the online high school. So open to any questions. Like I mentioned before, there will be a discussion at the end of our block. So if you do have any questions, please do put them in the chat. And without any further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and oh, hold on. There we go. And pass the talk on to Divashi, who's going to present her experience at School of Humanity.